Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Market House. My name's Caleb and I'm the host of this show. And we pretty much talk all things Disney. And by all things Disney, I mean pretty much everything. So whether that's theme parks, whether that's movies coming out, TV shows coming out, Disney Plus stuff, we talk about it. And yeah, so let's hop in. Let's talk about the week. So this past week, again, for those of you who don't know, we live in Northern California, and that means pretty much it's pretty mild weather. I mean, we get real hot in the summer and have pretty mild winters and falls and all that stuff. So the fact that it's in the 70s is amazing because that just means the Halloween vibes and the fall vibes continue to grow stronger because it's not 80. And that's amazing. The leaves are starting to change color a little bit, which is earlier than last year. Last year, it waited till like December for anything to happen because it was so warm. But I'll take this change. It's nice that it's cooling down. Unfortunately, it goes back up to the 80s this upcoming weekend, but that's okay. I will take what I can get. So that's making me happy. To get into the spirit, we did watch Hocus Pocus. This was my first time seeing it ever. It's a favorite for my wife in the Halloween season. She grew up on it, but this was my first time seeing it. And yeah, I went in with, setting my expectations for, it's a kid's movie. It's an old one. So I didn't think it's going to win Oscars or anything. So I didn't go in expecting that. But yeah, I'm still kind of confused as to how it grew such a large fan base, kind of that cult fan base, but it's okay, whatever. It might be the first and last time I see it, but I saw it. So I can check that off the Halloween to-do list. We watched Hocus Pocus. Not sure I understand all of it, but that's okay. We watched it, and we'll continue to watch some fun Halloween movies. But yeah, that's what happened this last week in our lives. But let's go ahead and talk Disney news. First up, we have Disney Genie has a launch date in Disney World. So Disneyland, still no word, but it looks like on October 19th, they're going to launch the official Disney Genie service over in Disney World. Now, if you don't know what it is, it's essentially the new FastPass system. You've got Disney Genie, which is the free service. This is the kind of the planning service that's now going to be integrated with the Disney or My Disney Experience app for Disney World folks and the Disneyland app for the West Coast folks. But it's essentially a planning service, and that's free. It's going to tell you, it's going to ask you like for preferences, like, are you a thrill ride person? Are you a show person? What kind of food do you like? And it's going to curate a Disney day for you. So a schedule. And you can follow it if you want. You can ignore it if you want. But that's basically, it's a really in-depth trip experience planning service. Then you've got Genie Plus, which is the paid Fast Pass, essentially. It's not called Fast Pass anymore. It's called Lightning Lane. But it's a paid service where it's $15 a day per person in Disney World, $20 a day per person in Disneyland. Not entirely sure why there's a price difference, but there is. And this gets you Lightning Lane passes for certain rides. And it covers about 90% of the rides on both coasts. But there are some that they've held back that you have to pay extra, even more on top of that 20 per day or 15 per day. You have to pay anywhere from, I think it ranges from 7 to, let's see here. It has a range. I think it's like $7 and it tops out at 15 maybe? Let me see here. 9, yeah, there's a range, and it's like, I think it's $7-ish to $15 per person for that one ride. So, for example, Disney Genie Plus, that it's so confusing. If I lose you, I apologize, but I get confused even talking about it, and have it right in front of my face. You've got the Disney Genie Plus, that is this new FastPass service, and you have to book these fast passes digitally on your app, and this gives you access to, like, for Magic Kingdom. This is the ride list they have. So they've got pretty much Big Thunder Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, Dumbo, Haunted Mansion, It's a Small World, Jungle Cruise, Mad Tea Party, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Philhar Magic, Monsters Inc., Peter Pan's Flight, Pirates of the Caribbean, Splash Mountain, Barnstormer, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Tomorrowland Speedway, and Under the Sea, The Journey of the Little Mermaid. Those are all included in that Genie Plus program. But if you want to go on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Space Mountain, you have to pay an additional. That's separate from the service. So if you paid for that service, it doesn't matter. This is an a la carte option for these two rides. Or you can just wait in the standby line. So you can either pay, so imagine, again, let's just price it out a family of four. You've got $60 per day for this Genie Plus thing. But if you guys want to ride Space Mountain and don't want to wait an hour and a half or 2 hours, you have the option of spending, I don't know, let's say $9 per person or $10 for easy math. You've got $40 there. So you've essentially paid $100 extra that day to get what used to be free with FastPass. So yeah, you can make the argument, is it going to be less waiting and, whatever. I mean, because there's going to be less people using the service, sure, whatever. So it may be more valuable, but still, this is going to price I would say a decent amount of folks out, because you're already spending an ungodly amount of money to be in the park to begin with. And if you want to kind of get through some lines and get, the most out of your trip, for folks that only get to go out there so many times a year or every few years, you want to be able to get these fast passes or whatever. But, this is paid now. So that's what it looks like. Again, I'm confusing myself just talking about it, so I apologize if it was confusing, but sorry, I forgot to mention one thing, but this is important. The prices on those a la carte options vary from day to day. So on a slow Tuesday in March, that will be, I'm assuming, the least amount of money that they'll ever charge for it. But on a busy Sunday during, in December or in July, it's going to be the top of the price tier or range for that ride. Yeah, again, it's another save your pennies or complain to Disney moment. And I think most will be on the latter end of complaining to Disney, because this is a new system. It's going to be confusing as all get out, but I'm curious. I might try it once, but I vowed to everyone that I will not be paying for the service on a regular basis. So that's where I stand on it. But again, this is East Coast only. Not entirely sure when they're going to announce it on the West Coast and when it opens up, but we will keep you updated when we get the word. All right, and our next news story is actually something we have personal experience with. This is a kind of made the rounds on Disney Twitter, and some of the vloggers covered it on YouTube. But it's kind of the problem with the reservation system and Magic Key holders. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying it's hard to sympathize with folks that purchase these things and have the ability to go to Disney, 3 times a week, or, some folks like, a few times a month or whatever. So I get it. It's like, boohoo, that sounds rough. You can go one less time this month than you usually would experience, whereas some folks, we can only go once every other year. I understand. But this is just like any other product where you go in with the understanding of one thing and you drop some cash down, right? The folks that bought the top tier tea dropped $1,400 a person, or in the Believe Key, $950, the Enchant Key, $650 or something like that, $700. So people, this is some significant money, and there's some wonkiness with it, and I'll kind of dive into what's going on. But you've got, this is the weird part of it, and this is what people are getting frustrated with. You were told that, okay, so you buy the top tier, which is the Dream, or the bottom one, the Believe, right? So the Believe Key's got like around 50-ish blockouts date, I think, for the year. Dream Key, you've got unlimited access, so no blockout dates. If you can get a reservation, that's the key. Get it, key. That's the key thing. If you can get a reservation on that day, you're free to go. But what people are experiencing, even 2, 3, 4 weeks out, I want to go to Disneyland on, I don't know, in November, early November. You can't get a reservation for a weekend. So the weekends are absolutely filled up pretty much. If you don't book it within, and once that, because it's a 90-day rolling window. So every day, the 90th day opens up, right? So it's a rolling calendar and you can book 90 days in advance. If you're not booking 80 to 90 days in advance, you are not getting a weekend reservation. It's just not happening. Yes, they pop up once in a while. So if you check a couple days before or the night before, there might be some cancellations and you can kind of slide in there and get a reservation for the next day on a weekend, Saturday or Sunday. But for the most part, they're just booked up. Now, I would understand if it was truly a capacity limit. Like if Disney was going, yeah, we've hit our capacity. We can't grow the park overnight for you guys. So, stop crying. It is what it is. We have hit capacity. That's not the case though. There is a limited amount of reservations for Magic Key holders, and then they have a totally separate reservation system for ticket holders. So I can't guarantee this or verify this with 100% certainty, but from the looks of it and kind of how the math works out and the dates and reservations and how the trends, what we're seeing is that Disney prioritizes ticket holders versus Magic Key holders. Now, again, I would normally not really care that much because I get it, right? Ticket holders should maybe get a little bit of more leeway because, again, these folks aren't coming as often as the Magic Key holders, so there's a little bit more priority or an importance of getting them in the park. I understand. And Disney, at the end of the day, they make more money off of single day ticket holders than, or multi-day, whatever, park hoppers than the Magic Key folks. We've talked about this in a previous episode. So at the end of the day, I think it's a money game. But I think it's pretty, there's a large difference. I honestly think the mix is probably 70% reservations available for ticket holders and 30% for Magic Key. So it's frustrating. For example, we're supposed to be going here pretty soon in October, and we had reservations for one day. It's a Sunday, and we said, hey, we would like to switch it to the other park. So we waited. I think we're switching it from California Adventure to Disneyland. So we're sitting there on the calendar. It pops up. It says, Disneyland's available. So I go in. Now, this is a weird thing. You have to cancel your reservation before you can book another one. So instead of swapping it out and saying, like, I'd like to swap California Adventure for Disneyland, you can't do that. It's a straight up cancellation. And then you're going in and booking a brand new reservation. Unfortunately, within that 15-second window that it took to cancel and then try and rebook, it was gone. So now we're out of luck. We just can't get in the park on a Sunday that we wanted to. And it's kind of hard because we're meeting two other parties down there and they've got reservations. So we might be the odd folks out and not be able to attend the parks with our friends and family. So this is frustrating. And I expressed that with Disney. I called them and said, hey, can you do anything for me? I'll even take the old ones for California Adventure. I don't even need the Disneyland ones. And she kind of just shrugged her shoulders and said, sorry. I mean, it is what it is. Whatever reservations are out there, and I can't help you. Just kind of sit there on the website and refresh every 5 seconds and wait for that to pop up. And it has not. We have been on the Disneyland website for the past 2-3 days. I mean, refreshing every 10 minutes. I mean, going throughout our day, and they are not popping up. So it's a broken system. You can say what you want about the reservation system, if it's helping or not, if it's helping with crowd levels, I get it. But at some point, there needs to be a middle ground where we meet with Disney and say, hey, people paid really good money for these things. Probably should have been a little more transparent in the beginning, saying that, hey, we will prioritize ticket holders at this rate. For every one Magic Key reservations, there's 3 single day ticket reservations. So just understand that those are going to book up, and I would have maybe second guessed my purchase of a Magic Key going, is this going to work for us? Or the folks that live in LA that go every other day and stuff. Again, boo-hoo, they can't go as often as they wanted to, I guess. But when you go in buying something and you expect it to work a certain way, you hope that it's pretty close to that, and this is pretty far off. So lesson learned. I mean, if it continues like this and they don't fix it, I don't know if we'll renew next year, unfortunately, because it's just not worth the headache and effort, because it's just a really big pain. So I'm hoping that they fix this thing. It's pretty rough. And again, it feels like it's work to try and go attend a day at Disney, and I don't want it to be that way. I want to go and escape. But right now it feels like a chore or a part-time job, just trying to lock these reservations down. So again, try not to stay too negative. We're going to go into our main segment here. That's positive and good things Disney. But again, I can't ignore these things. If something happens in the last week that's worth mentioning, and unfortunately the last month mostly has been pretty negative with stuff coming out of Disney corporate. So looking for those things to improve soon, but let's go ahead and talk about something that's way more fun and less depressing, and that's top 5 dining experiences at the Disneyland Resort. My top 5 dining experiences. So this is my personal opinion. You may have a different one, but I'm just going to share the top 5 dining experiences that my wife and I have experienced at the Disneyland Resort, and just kind of go over what those were. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so top 5 dining experiences at the Disneyland Resort. I will start off by saying that we have enjoyed and been patrons of Club 33 one time. We're not members. I don't have a secret stash of millions of dollars in my home. I wish we were, but we were invited. That's all. You know what? I'm actually going to stop right here. That's a story for another episode. I will dedicate a whole entire story time for that experience. It was insane and definitely something, kind of a bucket list item that we were able to achieve. So that will not be counted in this top 5 list, only because that's not really fair. It's not accessible to everybody. But I mean, if it would have been included, it'd definitely be number 1, but we're not going to do that today. So, and these are in no particular order. So this is not going to be ranked or anything, because these are all kind of different in their own way, and I enjoy them for different things. And I just didn't feel right to go like, oh, this is the first one, but you can only get drinks here. It doesn't work that way. So I'm just going to kind of go down the list of the things that we've enjoyed at the resort, and yeah, kind of story time. So the first one up we have is dinner at Wine Country. I think it's Trattoria or Trattoria. Trattoria. I don't know. It's an Italian word that I can't pronounce, but this is located in California Adventure, and this is a favorite of ours. We end up eating here probably once a trip or once every other trip. It's really good food. It's Italian food, so you can get pasta here. You can get steak, chicken, salads. I mean, it has a pretty, think of Olive Garden. It's kind of like that menu, but I would argue it's better. And the pricing isn't crazy. You're not going to spend, this is not like a $40 per plate restaurant. So this is definitely, of course, it's going to be more than the counter service restaurants, right? So it's not going to be like $9 a person, but I would expect it's kind of, again, priced like an Olive Garden, maybe $17, $20 a person, which is not terrible, right? Especially for theme park food. So if you're looking for kind of a more adult menu and want something not a cheeseburger or not chicken nuggets or, cheap theme park pizza, this is a fun place to go. The outside patio is absolutely amazing. This is actually the majority of the seating. There's a little bit of indoor seating, and that's actually probably the least desirable because you don't really get to enjoy the ambiance of the lights that they have out there, and it's right next to a giant walkway that gets you to Pixar Pier. And it's really pretty. So I would, if you could get the seats, and if you saw a map of this place, you'd understand what I'm talking about, but there are seats that kind of line the walkway up on this porch area. I would definitely sit there because you can enjoy the atmosphere of the park, kind of see Pixar Pier off in the distance, and eat some really good Italian food. So that's our first pick, is dinner at Wine Country Trattoria, potato. I don't know. Just, no, it's tomato. That's how confused I am. I'm calling potatoes. So disregard that. Let's move to the next next restaurant we have up here, and that is dinner at Napa Rose. And you might be asking yourself, what the heck is Napa Rose? And this is kind of tucked in to a hotel on site there. So this is located in the Grand Californian Hotel. So you kind of have to go not off site. It's considered on it's on Disney property, but it's it's not in a theme park. It's in the hotel. So anyone's allowed to go in the Grand California. You don't have to be a guest there, and especially if you're eating at a restaurant, so you can walk right in. And this is the most, I would argue, the most fancy. This is the fanciest restaurant and dining experience you can get on site in the parks. It's a very upscale feeling steakhouse, and it is very, 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 very good. It's expensive. You're looking at like $60 for steak, 50 something bucks for a chicken plate, or it's, I think I would argue probably $45 and above per plate. So this is maybe not, you're more than welcome to bring your kids there, but it's, for a family, it may be like, hey, mom and dad are going to be going to dinner tonight and you can stay with grandma and grandpa or whatever. But it is a very cool environment, a very good restaurant, the best food you'll probably find on the Disney resort. And yeah, it's really good. Again, it feels upscale, but you can totally wear your park attire. So you can go in there with jeans and your Disney or your Mickey t-shirt. But you'll also see couples there that, took the night off and went and got changed and got dressed up. So it's not a dinner jacket. You don't need to wear a dinner jacket or anything like that. But it may be a night that if you want to feel like you want to get dressed up, this is the place to go because, it matches the environment. So we've never done this, but the chef's table there is a very popular experience. So I think you can get a group of folks. Not sure how many people can sit at this table, but you said the special table and the chef at the restaurant creates like a custom experience for you guys in your table. So they'll make a menu just for that night for you, and you can kind of get a more personal experience at the restaurant. So that's a pretty cool option if you've never done that before. Not entirely sure the pricing of this, but something to look into. Next up, we have not entirely a full-on meal experience, but this is a do not miss for the adults in the room or in your room, whatever. This is drinks and appetizers at Trader Sam's. This is also a Disney hotel restaurant or bar, whatever you want to call it. It's located in the Disneyland hotel area, so just outside of the Disneyland hotel. They've got their pool and some walkways and stuff, and it's located right there. And it is a very cool tiki-themed bar and restaurant. You can get appetizers there. And yes, again, for the 21 and older folks, this place is super, super, super fun. They've got live entertainment out on the patio. So they've got like Hawaiian music being played by these two guys. They're amazing. Inside, they've got like these interactive moving things it's hard to explain. So like you'll be sitting there and there's like an art piece. You look to your right and it's like, oh, it looks like this like 3D model of a volcano and a person surfing, I think, or something like that. And then once in a while that volcano will erupt and the bartenders go nuts. They spray water on everybody. They yell these crazy things, and it's just fun. It's a really fun environment. Definitely if you're going to want to end the night, like you finish your night up at the parks and you guys want to go out and have some fun, this is something that's close by and an insanely fun themed, still Disney themed experience for the adults. So it is very fun. Again, of course, Disney, the drinks are pricier, right? You're looking at $17 or something like that for a drink. If you want like a mixed drink, because I'm a baby and I need everything sugary. But it's worth it, right? Split a drink. That's what my wife and I do. We usually just buy one, get a little appetizer and enjoy the night. So definitely worth the trip over there. The next restaurant I have on here is Storyteller's Cafe. We usually eat breakfast there, but they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is also located in the Grand Californian Hotel. So another hotel restaurant. And this is character dining. So breakfast is a character dining breakfast buffet, and it is super, super, super fun. And it differentiates itself from the other character breakfasts because at the Storyteller's Cafe, they've got like an omelet station. They've got a la carte options you can order. So there's a little more flexibility versus the other like Goofy's Kitchen or Plaza Inn. They are pretty kind of strict on like, nope, it's purely a buffet. You walk up, you get your junk, sit down, that's it. Whereas at the Storytellers Cafe, you get a little more options. So it's really fun. Again, the environment's a little more, it's not stuffy or fancy or anything, but it's just a little nicer than a Goofy's Kitchen or Plaza Inn. That's why I like it. I like the environment. It's nice. The character options, again, for kids, it's still great. I think kids will enjoy it either way, but they tend to have kind of like the more woodland creatures, characters over here. So they've got like Chip and Dale. They've got the bears from Brother Bear. I'm not entirely sure what their names are. So you're not going to see like Mickey here, or you're not going to see Donald unless they've changed something that I don't know about. They don't have like the really big characters here. They're kind of the more, again, it's themed to woodland, so it's more woody characters, but it's still enjoyable. We have a really good time here. Always done well with allergy options too, so it's kind of hard to find really good gluten-free breakfast in the parks. But here you can get gluten-free waffles. You can get a gluten-free breakfast scramble. They've got a ton of options for allergies, so if you have one, this is a fun place to go because you have a lot of options to choose from. Now, finally, again, no particular order, just tentative end up last on the list. This is lunch at Craftsman Bar and Grill, another Grand Californian hotel food option. And I'm just talking Grand Californian the whole time, but they just have really good food options, so it's hard to avoid them. This is a poolside kind of bar and grill. It's the seating area is brand new. It's only been open for a few years now, but it's right next to the Grand Californians Hotel, so you can see that while you're eating. It's a very casual feeling, so again, not a stuffy place to eat. Definitely bring the kids here. But this has some of the best food we've ever had. There is a option called the double baked nachos, and they are insanely good. Again, reasonably priced. This is definitely like their meals tend to be shareable because they're pretty big. The nachos you can easily share between two people. Just really good food. And again, you're not paying $40 a plate. I think the nachos are like $20, but again, split between two people, it's like a counter service restaurant. So you're not going to break the bank. Really good food, and the environment's really fun, really laid back, and next to a pool. So no pressure to dress up or anything. And we actually, the last time we ate here, we ended up sitting next to Josh D'Amaro, who's the chairman of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, and didn't even know who he was at the time, but he looked familiar, and we're sitting there, and he seemed really important, and there's a lot of people walking up to him and talking to him, cast members and guests, and I'm like, who is this guy? He looks familiar. So did a little Googling at the table, recognized who he was, and was like, holy smokes, that dude is important. He runs this place. So we ended up getting a picture with him. He's really nice. We waited till he was done eating, of course. We're not rude. We're not animals. We waited till he finished eating with his family. And when he was walking away, we approached him and said, hey, Josh, we're so-and-so. We'd love to meet you. And he was a very, very pleasant man and very cool guy. So talked to him for a little bit. He actually cared where we were from, and we talked a little bit. And super nice guy. So that was fun. But yeah, those are the restaurants I picked. So again, no particular order. All of them are great. If you've got an extra 15 minutes, walk over to the Grand Californian. You can do no wrong eating there because pretty much every restaurant they have, like you just heard, are amazing. So this is basically just a giant shout out for the Grand Californian. So, and if you're staying there, even better. If you've got $800 a night, do it because it's a very cool hotel, very cool hotel with really good restaurants. So again, all of these are very popular, what I mentioned. So make sure to make reservations in advance if you want to go to these things. The only exception is Trader Sam's. You cannot make reservations at that place, at the bar. Everywhere else you can make reservations in advance. So I suggest you do that because they're very popular if you want to try these places out. But that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. You can find us on Instagram at Market House Podcast. Again, actually that's run by my wife. She does an amazing job. She's killing it with all the pictures of our previous trips and even our current ones. You may catch some pictures when we're there in real time. But it's a good place if you just want to go on there and live or see some pictures and feel like you're there at the park at that moment. So again, thanks so much for listening. We will see you next week.